All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Cascade Charter Township Planning Commission meeting, Monday, July 7th, 2025. Article 2, stand and give the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Article 3, a motion to approve the current agenda.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Article 4, disclose any conflict of interest.
None.
Other than me
Don't even
visiting International Beverage multiple times a month.
It's a pillar. It's a pillar in our community. I'm sure
there.
everybody's back.
You're just putting money in the community.
He may have a financial interest, but I do not have a financial. So anybody else have any? Okay. Article 5, motion to approve the minutes for June 16th. So moved.
Support. Go ahead.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 6, acknowledge visitors and those wishing to speak. Anybody wishing to speak on any of the items that are not on the agenda? We have a public hearing for the first case. Anybody? Nick, anybody online?
Got one person online, but then
Okay. All right, Article 7, case number 253890, Jonathan Durrell, 5178 Burton Street.
The case in front of you is very procedural. So as you can see from your packets and the map that was included, there is a small parcel on Burton that is completely landlocked with I-96 to the west, High Ridge condominium associations to the north, and then a parking lot and a access easement or a utility easement for consumers to the east. It's kind of like the highway and the easement triangle together, and we have this small little parcel. I don't know exactly why it wasn't included in the first planned unit development. This was the west portion of this development was approved, I believe in the 80s, and then the east portion was added in 2000. And this one little parcel has had a well that was used for the High Ridge Condominium Association historically on it. It was somehow sold. The High Ridge Condominium Association bought it back and bought it, I should say. I don't know exactly what happened there, but then wanted to somehow solidify it into High Ridge. It's kind of difficult with condo associations to add land later, and it was legally difficult to do so. So they actually decided that the easiest way to keep this undeveloped and make it part of High Ridge was to include it in the planned unit development, which I agree with because we have a required amount of units in there. And adding it to the planned unit development makes it clear that it's part of the High Ridge Condominium Association without them having to go through the rigmarole of including it in the condo association. So by approving this today, all you're doing is adding that parcel to the legal description of the High Ridge Condominium Association. No development will happen on this because we still, like I said, have a maximum unit. Very procedural. I recommend approval. Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff?
I do, just trying to figure out exactly where this is. Like, I get the map, but it's blown up really close. Is this
Sure.
going down Burton? Spalding is to the right.
You know, with the High Ridge is right before the condo association, before you get to Spalding.
If I'm keep going down Burton to the west.
Yep.
Spalding's to the right,
Yep, past Spalding.
just
on the
past
left-hand side
Spalding.
before
So
you get
is
to
the
bridge.
left, on the left High Ridge.
Yes.
Okay. Do we need pathway easement into this piece of property for the Burton?
No,
Bridge?
this is on the south side of High Ridge condominiums.
You know where Kenmore is, just before the on-ramp to 96, like if you're going down Cascade Road and
Got it up on my.
I think
You want me to
I
show it?
got it right there.
Kenmore's
If you guys
way
toggle
down
over, you
Cascade
can
Road.
see.
This is Burton.
The parkway.
The address is Burton.
You know where
But
the
it's-
inn
it-
is
it-
and all that? It's
you
right
could-
behind that.
yeah.
Can you toggle over and look at your screen?
Parkways would be north of this.
This is Burton.
Hang on, it takes it a minute. Okay.
All right, this is Burton.
Yep.
Pathways going through there.
Yep.
The parcel in question is right here.
Oh, on the
Yeah, it's
south
at the end, yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, and then this is owned by MDOT. Oh, that's the one. The south parcel here is
Okay.
owned by MDOT and it's
It
this
was
little,
The way it was, I was trying to figure out if
Sorry.
it was the south side of Burton
Oh, it's
no,
in that section where it was going. over
Yeah.
the highway.
Further south than where the.
Way farther.
Way
south.
farther.
way,
Yeah.
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 So just almost useless to anyone outside of either MDOT or High Ridge.
Okay, and you're right, it is behind Holiday Inn Express.
That's because I slept there. I'm smart.
I got that wrong in my head for a minute. I imagined you sleeping on this vacant piece of land.
That's funny.
That was my only question. I'm good.
Yep. That's it. And then
Anybody else have
I
any other questions for staff?
don't know that I see the applicant here.
The applicants here, if they'd like to come up,
President of the Association, I'm just here to hear what.
what's being said? Okay.
Do you,
Well, we go to public hearing. Yeah. So I take a motion to go to public hearing.
I'll make a motion to go to public hearing.
All right, second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, this is public hearing now, so if you would like to get up and say something, you can. You don't have to under any obligation. If you'd like to, okay?
It'd be nice to hear. Yes or no's is from the association, I guess, but if he doesn't want to speak, that's fine.
Nick, anybody online that wants to?
Just had somebody go to room, but.
Okay.
You know, I'm recalling now the applicant, the lawyer that's working for the condo association did say they were going to be in Florida and I said, it's going to be so procedural, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Not
that's fine.
coming.
That's fine. All right, I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. I don't have a problem with this. I mean, I asked Andrea and she said because the PUD, they can't build any additional, I mean, it's.
I think that was my biggest concern as well, is just making sure they can't build anymore. Do you know the why, Andrea, like why this came about, like
Yeah.
what the applicants? Like, I just want to know why, like, why are we here now?
Yeah. Is it, I don't know obviously I wasn't here
I
for the
wanted to ask
different,
applicant.
yeah.
Yeah, applicant's not here, so.
Right, so you don't have,
From
No.
1989, when this original.
right, and then I think there
PUD
was a,
created.
there was a change in 2000 and something, so.
Yep.
I just wonder
So-
why.
The change in 2000 was to add the High Ridge Hills Road. I think that there was really just a discrepancy in the legal description. Someone ended up buying that and then they needed an easement to be able to access their own well.
That makes sense.
That was, and then they ended up, I think,
Buying it back.
yeah, buying it back. Cause I did, when I probably right around the time I started here in February, like spring of 2024, I had someone call asking about what they could do on this piece of property. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, give it to the condo association,
Right.
give it to MDOT, nothing. You know, it would be very difficult to do anything.
Right. It's just
with.
the address is weird too. I think if somebody was looking, somebody
the
purchased
condo
it with a,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, a Burton
Mhm.
Street address when it's this far south is just odd to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Is there already an 8 by 8 foot pump house on the property? So that just remains, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay.
There's no proposed development on this property.
No. We need to make a motion.
If you would like to, I would be happy to.
Um, I'm just trying to look here.
You know, I'm just scrolling through the stuff myself to go down to the.
It's a text amendment.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, it's just a
It's
text amendment.
Recommendation to the board.
Okay, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of case number 25-3890, a rezoning request of 5178 Burton Street Southeast from R1 to PUD 27. That's what it's written as. Is that good?
Yep.
That's okay.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, Article 8, 6859 Cascade Road, International Beverage.
This has been a really fun one.
Not for them, I'm sure.
Thank you. Okay, so the request before you is for essentially rebuilding the current liquor store at 6859 Cascade Road. This is an existing store that's been there. We have worked closely with the applicant who has voluntarily been reviewed under their proposed zoning ordinance that is now published online. So you do have chapter 8 of the zoning ordinance, which is our form-based code. This is in the village. It's currently B2, but will be in the future form-based code. It will be village core, I believe, is the zoning requirements. So we do currently in our zoning ordinance have a village design review committee, which Commissioner Kramer is quite familiar with, as that was kind of his in through the planning commission for his property on 6660 Old 28th Street, which he also went through the village design review committee, where we actually have design standards. We've taken that committee, which is currently in the B1 zone district, in our current zoning ordinance, that will remain in the new zoning ordinance amendments. It will still be called the Village Design Review Committee. But what we have done is implemented a form-based code. So within the form-based code, we have 3 different building types, and then architectural elements that go along with each of those building types. So you can choose either one of those 3 building types, but then elements of your building have to match that building type and the requirements that go along with it. So you do have a long list in your packet of each of the new requirements and how the applicant has met all of those requirements. I won't, for the sake of time, go through each of those, but I do want to point out the elements that the Planning Commission has to make a decision on. So the way that it works with the form-based code is the requirements of the form-based code, 3 of the different elements of the form-based code can be waived by the Planning Commission in order to meet the goals of the village and the design for that building. So as you can see, the applicant, I try not to just say Rishi, but you're quite familiar with him and really liked working with all of them, is taking the existing about 4,000 square foot building and expanding that to a little over 8,000 square feet. You can see he's provided colored elevations. It started out completely different, and he's worked with us as we've taken the elements of a downtown, I'm sorry, what is the name? The Main Street building type, and integrated them into the design. There's a couple elements that the Planning Commission has to work through to determine if they're appropriate. So there is facade window transparency requirements for buildings that front Orange and Cascade. One of the elements that has to be present is 70% transparency for, gosh, it's going to take a little while to remember the name of our buildings. For the Main Street building. Because of the interior design of the building, the applicant has had a hard time reaching that 70%. So in order to do that, they've provided windows, but they in place of transparent windows, which is what's required by our ordinance. On the south side, they've provided spandrel glass. So spandrel glass, as you can see in the image included in the plans, is glass with a opaque, is that the word I'm looking for? Not see-through, that's opaque, right?
Mhm.
Got that right? With an opaque backside so that we still have that glass appearance, but they are able to do what they need to with the design in the back of the building or in the interior of the building. So that's one thing that the Planning Commission needs to look at. The Village Design Review Committee looked, at this plan numerous times and found that that was beneficial to provide that spandrel in place of just a blank wall.
And that's on orange, right? That's on.
That would be on the orange side. So the Cascade side meets the 70% transparency requirement. The orange side, about half of the windows that are provided actually have the spandrel glass.
And when she refers to the
So-
orange side, she's referring to the name of the street.
Right.
Right.
Thank
That's
you.
the street that goes between the bridal shop and International. I mean, I just,
No, I know, I get, that was a great I've been in the meeting, so
you
just
have,
used
but
to it,
yeah, yeah.
No, that was a good clarification.
Nope, there'll be no orange color. There will be a burgundy that was added per the request of the Village Design Review Committee for some of the materials. So that's one of the elements that does not meet the requirements, but meets in staff and the Village Design Review Committee's opinion, meets the desired look of the village design or of the village. The next one that the Planning Commission will have to consider tonight is the material provided. They have proposed a wood grain composite trim, which is technically not an allowed material for the Main Street building. But I think that this will still meet the design requirements. As the applicant, were you able to bring some material? Oh, yeah, he's got it all. I'll give him a chance when they come up. So as part of this process, because we are focused so much on materials in the village, you'll start to see that we're requesting of the applicants, and these guys have been wonderful to work with. They've actually brought us sample materials so that we can see, because sometimes it's hard when you're just looking at an elevation with some, letters and numbers to assume what something will look like. So the applicant has brought materials for the Planning Commission to review today. That's one of them that we want to make sure that we determine today. And then the Planning Commission also should determine if uplighting is appropriate. So usually in our zoning ordinance, we require that all of your lighting is downcast. But for some design elements, such as the design that's in this plan, the applicant may be able to use uplighting that provides appropriate facade lighting for a property. In this case, the applicant is providing wall packs, decorative wall pack mounted lighting that has lighting that shoots up and down. So because our requirements of our zoning ordinance usually require that always is down, the Planning Commission needs to make that determination in your motion, and it's in the sample motion, just so that we say, even though we understand that this is usually the rules, we are allowing that exception in the village for the purposes of design, of meeting the requirements, meeting our intended design. With that, I will allow the applicant to come up and speak about
Hold
anything
on, in
else.
case we have any questions.
Yeah.
To have. So I have a question.
Okay,
Page 41 of the packet, it's the side of the building that faces,
Orange Street.
Cascade Roadhouse, the parking lot,
yep.
Opposite of orange.
This is,
the opposite.
is that
of-
what?
The northeast elevation is what,
Oh, at the bottom. I'm at the top of 41.
It's on mine, it says 41 on the PDF packet, so.
Far.
Okay.
Just The first
Oh, yeah,
image is
northeast
the one I was talking.
I may not remember it correctly. I don't remember the windows being to the left of the entrance being brick veneer or that spandrel glass. I thought those 3 window sets right there
Were
were
real, were-
glass.
Where are
The,
you?
the brick veneer has been
Are you on
consistent
northeast
material.
side?
Yeah, I'm on the northeast elevations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, down one.
here.
Yeah, I think it's that one. Look, see
Yeah.
here on that one.
Let me go away.
Nope, that's the south.
Yeah,
There,
there we go.
yes, right there. So I thought that those 2 brick veneer sections, I thought those were all, I thought that was all windows on that side. And I don't
Here-
remember because, yeah,
I don't remember ever seeing them look like windows that were windows got bricked out.
yeah. I remember seeing that on the other side, on the orange side, but I don't
But it's
remember.
not on the orange side.
We were on the,
Yeah.
we were on the design review committee, so we've looked at this a bunch of times, so. I thought those were glass on that side, and that's okay if they're, that wasn't what I thought. Yeah. Yeah, these 2 right here, and then they're saying like, these other 2, just to the left of the front door will now be this spandrel. And I just don't remember seeing that. Wendy, do you remember that?
And it.
But I remember on the orange side, they were brick, and then we talked about that in the last, and now they're that spandrel.
Which the spandrel
So,
doesn't look bad.
well,
All right, my computer is done crashing out, so I can pull up. This is the previous design.
I just don't love the.
Yeah,
It
it,
looks like it was a window and we filled. it in with brick.
yes, and maybe I missed that. That's,
And I wasn't at the last meeting, but
I don't remember that.
Yeah, no.
mhm.
Okay,
where was this? What rendition was this?
This is the one before the last. So this is, when would we have, this is the 624 plan.
What happened?
Right.
Oh, this is a
What was
627.
presented at the last design review committee meeting. I wasn't
we
there.
talked about making sure that there was, the bricking above the top windows matched the bricking
Right,
and the
right.
bricking above the bottom as well. We talked about, moving the Grace like to move the cross section more to the middle rather than to the top. I know we talked about, I remember I said on the orange side, I was like, I'm okay with them not having glass there. Just my brain wants to have consistency in glass. I just don't remember. Yeah, see on this side, the
This
glass
is-
goes all the way to the end, and on the other side it doesn't. And I think,
This is the last, this is the previous.
okay, I'm not making a stink about it. I just,
This one's- Okay, so this is what was presented last week to the subcommittee or to the.
Yeah.
design review committee?
Yep.
Okay,
No,
and there was no comments about that?
no, we did not discuss the material change that I recall for the parking lot
Outside?
side.
Which is the northeast.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
northeast. Sorry.
maybe that's why, because it was in the parking lot. And I think that's why we just,
I want to
said,
be
hey,
able to.
it's the parking lot. So who,
Yeah, I'm
No.
gonna defer to you because
I
I
know, I
wasn't
just-
at that meeting and.
I don't remember it. That's
Previous-
okay. It's not a big deal. I'm just,
What happens after today? Does this get approved or does it go to the board?
It gets approved.
It's site plan, so just PC has final review over it.
okay. Does anybody have any questions for staff?
No, that would be my only, actually I have a couple questions, but my big question would be about those 4 windowish looking things. I was not at the last site plan review meeting, so just making sure that those were okay with those that did attend that meeting, that they're okay with that look. So that's my first question.
Yep, that didn't come up, but I do want to note that the requirements for transparency are different on a non-street front side.
Yeah.
They're 40%.
Which is fine, And,
Yep.
and yes, I
think-
just want to make sure that that
Yes.
design look, because I do not remember seeing that design look in previous renditions when I was on the committee. So I just want to make
Mhm.
sure that that design look was presented at the last design review committee and that there was no objections to it.
Yeah, so we talked about it. We said we like the look of the windows all along Orange Street, just
I
because,
agree.
right?
It's not about that.
But
It's
the-
about this parking lot side.
Oh, the parking lot side.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I
talking
think,
about
I
those
think,
two-
I remember,
those
I remember.
Cause I like the way Orange Street looks. I
Yeah.
like that it has the look of windows, and I don't care that they're covered up on the inside. I think that when you drive by, as long as it looks good, it's gonna look good. I'd rather see that than the backs of your shelves that are in
Yeah.
there. So I think that side looks really good. I am, again, just making sure. I do
Mhm.
not
It
remember
was.
the parking lot side having these bricked out window looks, and I just want to make sure, since I wasn't at the meeting, that there was no objection.
I think what we said was there was, if I'm starting to remember it now. We talked about it's just cost savings for them, right? To not have those windows. And plus they were gonna black out the windows anyways, because that's where shelving and coolers and things are gonna be.
Mhm.
And because it was on the parking
Parking
lot
lot.
side and towards the back,
Right.
I think we were like, and because they have
It
been
makes sense.
incredibly bend over back,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
it's not about
No.
that. I'm talking about
Yes,
making sure people are okay. And I
Yep.
understand, because you're right, that is the cooler section, which would be even harder to make windows blacked out. You can't do that in
Yeah.
a cooler.
yeah.
Okay.
So I did come up, and then I think that was the explanation through, some of the,
And then my other question for staff is this up lighting versus down lighting?
That was
We-
my question
Yeah,
too.
where are we talking about this? Is that just all these little lights on the side?
Yes, so this is one element that we have addressed. The last,
I think it's all
the
It's all like
photometrics
those
that have been
side-
provided have not,
top.
there's been some, it's been too dark near Roadhouse. We do require, that you have at least 0.5 foot candles of lighting throughout the whole parking lot. And in order to meet that requirement, the,
Wait, I think I know it. So we're not talking about the lights on the building.
We
We're
are.
talking,
Yes,
oh, because I thought you showed me before. I think I did ask this question before, and you showed me lights that were put outside somewhere. that-
bollards.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they've changed these. These are
So there's two
canisters, so they go up and down.
Okay, and
That's-
now we're talking about the ones that are on the sides. of-
On the building. The,
Okay.
the uplighting that we're talking about is the wall lighting that's provided on the building.
So it goes.
So
up
it
and
will,
down.
yes.
What would be the
But-
downside of having uplighting? I mean, is there a downside in setting the precedent? Is there a downside in allowing uplighting?
So sometimes in areas where you want to try to keep things darker, you end up with, what's called like the light sky, like you'll end up
Like light
impacting,
pollution.
yeah, you end up impacting
Right,
the
like
lighting
this-
all around you.
This area, what she's saying is historically been too dark. So I think
Yeah.
that's why this was the answer, because it was historically too dark.
So there's two things, let me say on the lighting, because they actually moved the lights up. So if you can see the plans that were provided on 6/24, the lights were moved up to almost what is like the second set of windows. And we actually said, that's kind of taken away from what we're trying to do with the
Yeah,
pedestrian
it
appeal.
looks better down.
Yeah.
It gives
So-
better that Main
And-
Street look.
That's correct. So in the new plans, we did request that they stayed under that horizontal expression line so that we did,
Okay.
create that Main Street effect. What that does do though, is there's gonna have to be some adjustments to their lighting plans to make sure that lighting is sufficient throughout the whole site. So in the motion I've just mentioned that the planning commission should require that the lighting, the standards of our lighting section are met, and I can continue to work
Under
with the
what they-
applicating,
Yeah. what
with
they
the
have.
applicant to provide
Yeah.
sufficient
No,
lighting.
And I think, I think it's good. It's not behind the building. It's not in the backside. It's just those two side sections, and I'm assuming the Cascade Road front side, which I can't see right now.
Mhm.
But, so no, that's a good thing.
My question on that though was, is there as in the new zoning, do we say we do not allow uplighting? And
Yes,
so we're making a precedent on this?
in the new zoning, we allow uplighting with the approval of the planning commission in the village. So in the actuals, in that chapter 8 that you have, there's a provision for the planning commission to allow for this. But in order to make sure,
It's not automatic.
Yeah,
We have.
we need to make sure that the
Especially-
planning commission
One of the
confirms that in their
key
motion.
Differences with this, especially on that north side, is that they already have an existing parking lot that is probably bigger than what we would have allowed.
That's
in the
correct.
Village area.
That's
So I
correct.
think when we look at these in the future, we're not gonna have a big parking lot next to them. The parking will be more behind, so it will be a different situation. So I think that's one of the main reasons why it's appropriate for this case, is because this is already an exception, because that's where their existing parking lot is, that is already a little too dim.
So we'll review those as time marches on, as they come through.
Yeah, and I think we
That's-
just need to remember,
And just
The
in the village, that
differences-
we have the ability to.
Only in the village.
yeah,
Right.
and that this is different because of where their parking lot is.
Okay.
Compared to.
I mean, I think with these sconces, if that's the right word for them down here, if I understand it correctly, and it'll look beautiful with the uplighting on that building for sure
I
too.
agree.
So, yeah.
Really
Okay,
well.
But I just want to make sure that since this is the first real
Yeah.
building that's
Yeah.
going.
And I
you
think
know,
that-
Which is super exciting, by the way.
Right.
But
Right.
I just want to make sure we're not setting some weird precedent that's going to get us in trouble. down the
Right.
road.
And I think the 70% transparency requirement is a huge deal normally. But no offense, we're talking about liquor store. Like, we don't want to see the backs of your shelves, given the fact that you have a corner lot. It's not like you're just facing the front. And I think normally in the future, corner lots, and you're an existing business that has been here forever and done great things for our community. So it's not like we're looking at putting a liquor store in here and changing our requirements for something on the side. I think that's a huge deal, and a huge difference is that you're opening up way more transparency than you currently have on that side of the building. So
Mhm.
Does anybody have any more questions for staff?
I was curious, is there a second floor elevation on this, or is it open all the way? I didn't see one.
It's open.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So we don't have kind of a cross section of the inside to show exactly, but this is a 1-story building.
Gotcha.
Anyone else have any other questions for staff?
I will note too, with transparency, it's a corner building, so a lot of times it's really easy to fulfill that 70% transparency on just a traditional, street front, the front side of a building. And when you have the corner lot, you have that takes away from a lot of your space on the interior of your building when we have those requirements. So it's pretty common that you would waive some element of a transparency requirement for a corner lot.
right, and again, this is an existing building, an existing business. We're not changing this for a new business trying to fit into a space.
Okay, would the applicant like to come up and talk? You don't have to if you want to, you can. We'd like to see some of your samples, if you guys have samples.
I'm at university, whatever you want.
Come on up.
I would like to see that wood cut.
Yeah, the veneer, yes.
If you have it with you.
We don't have to go get something, right? Okay.
I don't have the wood.
David, we're-
When you say. So just kind of,
Just come up and state your name and address, just for the record. Yep.
My name is Rishi Makar, and I'm with International Beverage. I do want to say that I'm nervous. So this started, I don't know if any of you know, I had the privilege of growing up here. I graduated from Forest Central.
Go Rangers,
Go Rangers, like
What class?
98,
89.
80. And it's a community that I've called home for a long time. My kids were raised here. They go to Forest Hills public school systems, and it's been a privilege to be in this community. The community's been so kind and giving, and we feel that my mom and my wife work at the store, and they feel welcome there and they feel safe there, and the community looks out for them. So when this came about, when it was presented, it was not this extravagant. It's continued to kind of go. let the supervisor kind of run with the facade and kind of have, you know, the township. I wanted it to be a building that the township could be proud of. So I didn't really mess with whatever they wanted. I kind of had it happen. Now, my last name is not on any buildings as such. My bank account reflects that we'll do our best to do everything we can that was requested. And so far, we've been able to kind of do that. I don't have the siding that was asked for. We weren't able to get that, but I think last I talked, Andrea had said that they would want to see sample of the brick. That's kind of what was emphasized more. So I did bring some of those for you to take a look at. And I think these are the two tones that will be, I can have Jeff or Brian, who's the architect, talk more because they're more.
The color and the red one is like there are two color in red.
Yeah.
That's how, you know, traditionally we use the drop and.
Where in the rendering is the?
Nice.
So it would be
is it the-
here.
And
Sorry,
then the size of the.
Yep,
just the top, it's not the.
here and right here.
Okay, and what about the maroonish color above that one? Is that
That's
correct?
aluminum flashing.
Okay, so it will have brick, this wood grain composite stuff at the top and there,
Raised down.
and
Yeah.
then aluminum burgundy to break up the two.
Yep.
Yeah, we appreciate, Wendy and I were on the committee, so we know we put you through the ringer and we appreciate you being a good sport about it. Just so you know, we put magnifying glass on this because this is the building we're gonna point to when all the developers come. So,
First one out of the gate.
I mean, yours is gonna be
Yeah.
the one that drives the train.
This will be the building that my kids will be paying for. So I'm well aware.
And hopefully it'll be a building you'll be proud of.
Right. So we want to get it right as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
The
This is my
DDA
home.
is working on
Sure.
facade
Yeah.
plans as well.
Yeah. So,
All right.
I mean, we know a bunch of stuff, so I don't know if you guys have any questions for the applicant. They are going to be doing the construction while it's open.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Let's go. We don't want to, I find that in our industry, continuity is really, really important.
Yeah.
And we recognize the fact that we're there. We've been serving the community for a long time. We don't want there to be disruption to service. It might not be 100%, but we'd want to have the regulars taken care of. So we'll have most of our liquor, beer and wine available. How that's, you know, we were lucky because Visser did our last build out at the 28th Street location. When we expanded that, we were able to remain open. They allowed us an area where we could kind of shift the best sellers. And then we had like an employee running to grab the other things for customers that they weren't able to see.
Sure.
So we'll try to accommodate that as best as possible so that the community doesn't feel like their service was interrupted or disrupted in any way. Won't be 100%, but we're hoping it'll be 70, 80%.
Are you gonna like poll your workers to find out the?
I'm gonna pull my kids.
Does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Well, the positive thing for you, you're gonna have more steps.
I know.
You get more exercise.
I'll get more. There you go. Yeah.
And no more from me, Rishi. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, thank you.
No.
Yeah, thank you.
Looks great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. We don't have public meeting. I mean, the applicant's been great to work with, like everything we've asked them to do, they've done,
Well, and they've been in the community for a long
Long
time, which I
time.
think is huge, that they're not just in the community for a long time, but they're also willing to invest in supporting to enhance the community and make it a nicer place, which is huge.
need no.
So I think the lighting, it's all good. How do we feel about this, the composite wood?
I'd like to see I mean, I think we want
So
to see the
good. I-
closet. Are you?
Could do
Are you okay with, I mean, I'm asking you
Is-
guys,
yeah.
sort of what
The rendering, I'm like.
direction, I don't have a problem with
Yeah,
it.
I
really.
don't either. It's a small strip to me where it does a great job
Yeah.
of breaking up stuff.
Is it just in between?
It's the in-between.
in the middle there,
Top above the
and at the
window.
top?
So it's what's like kind of the lighter tan.
Yeah,
Not this is brick also,
Mhm.
but here is where
yeah,
the The composite trim.
Soffits there, yeah.
Looks really good.
May I ask?
I
I
think so
agree.
too.
May I ask the applicant for clarification? When you say wood grain, are you talking about something a solid color, such as the image that I have on the screen now, or something that actually has like this wood pattern?
It's like a solid
Solid.
color
Okay.
with pattern under.
Yeah.
So
Texture of.
more so,
I'm good
Like
with
that.
Alan. I don't know about you.
Okay.
I think it,
I think we've had them jump through a lot of
I think-
hoops, and I
and
think
I
I'm
think-
okay with saying, listen,
I
we'll,
do too, and I
we'll
think-
trust you
yeah,
on this
I
one.
think this final rendering looks so good that it's kind of cool. I know it's hard to see in the design, but the
Okay.
corner has like a little like cutout area, because that design does not look like it, but right? It's a little-
yeah, there's a 45-degree angle at the corner, which we require for,
Corner entrances.
corner
Yeah.
entrances, so you can't really see it very well in the rendering, but it's kind of fun.
You can see it up above with
And
the,
that's
Yeah.
on the orange and
Orange
Cascade.
and
corner.
Cascade.
right, I
and-
saw that.
Oh, no, I think it's,
yeah.
We
exciting.
require Entrance on the front of Cascade,
Right.
so I moved it.
You can see it here in the floor plan.
Oh,
yeah, so it's just and it's gonna provide, currently, Orange Street doesn't have the lighting or the feel of like walking past businesses, and I think that the whole Orange Street side of this is nice, and it
Yeah.
provides light, and it provides a feeling of community, and we, as a township, own the Orange House, or the Stone House on Orange Street,
Right.
so I think it helps with that walkability.
Well, okay, I just wanted to bring it up because we didn't
Yeah.
talk about that.
Does
I think
anybody
it's a
have any
great
concern?
accent for the building.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, we're setting it's going against, right, what we're making a call on that, which is fine. I'm fine. So,
No concerns here. It looks like a huge upgrade from what exists. I appreciate the applicant's efforts. To me, these kind of things, it's hard, having gone through this process, it's hard to tell with these renderings sometimes. I mean, we rely on design people too, and when they would come to us and be like, well, this isn't technically allowed, but this is a design upgrade, you know, me having someone tell us that is good to me. It looks good in the picture, and if somebody's saying we added this material because we think it makes it actually enhances the look of the building. At least in this case, for sure, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, so
Yeah.
looks great.
Concern
when do you hope to have it finished once it's approved?
tomorrow.
I know, that's what you hope.
They wanted to
That's
start
what Reese's
yesterday.
hoping, wife is hoping.
When do you hope it's gonna be finished?
Last month.
So what's your goal?
First half, I'll let Jeff talk about it because
In terms of timeline?
yeah.
So you do it kind of in two phases to keep them open. The first phase would happen this fall, and then the second phase towards the front would happen next spring.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's spirit of the village that we've talked about with the design review and
Yeah.
with the form-based code. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read through this? whole
If
one?
you would like to, I would be happy either.
Right in front of me, so I.
It's fine. Go ahead, rock on.
I make motion, is there anything that has changed that we just discussed?
The only thing you wanna, number 6, under the
Yeah.
subsection, you won't need that.
Okay.
portion.
And then just say including instead of, there's an including / excluding
So
choice.
including
Yep.
the wood grain, okay. I make a motion that case number 25-3888, the site plan review for 6859 Cascade Road be approved with the following provisions. The spandrel windows, I don't even know what that means, but on the southeast facade of the building are sufficient to meet the spirit of the form-based code. The 70% transparency requirement is waived. The material provided on the submitted elevations, including the wood grain composite trimmed, is deemed accessible material for the village. The proposed uplighting is approved. You want all the rest of these,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Furthermore, the following conditions shall be placed on approval. The VLT levels of the windows be approved by the planning department in advance of a building permit. All lighting on site shall be calculated in the photometric and reviewed and approved by the planning director. Lighting levels meet the requirements of Article 12. The site shall be connected to water and sewer in compliance with Chapter 313 of the Cascade General Code. An updated stormwater and sewer maintenance plan be recorded and provided to the township. And
Skip that.
skip this next one. That's it.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Sorry for the long drawn out process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're all excited.
Thank you.
So, thank you. All right, Article 9, acknowledge visitors or those wishing to speak. In the audience, anybody online? Nope, okay. Article 10, other business. So this is where we can finish our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the 21st, I won't be here and Wendy won't be here, so.
And the concern,
For the.
the public hearing, yeah, and I think the concern is that we're both on the subcommittee.
Yep.
So while Andrea will be here, you won't, the idea was that we had a planning commission representative on the subcommittee so that they could kind of voice some of the things and talk about stuff and give some background and all of that. And to also to be able to reply to any public comment, because I do think I'm hoping, I said last time, we'll get some public comments and public feedback. And I think that the public deserves, if they show up to a meeting, they deserve to hear feedback onto either why we got to a certain point or what the decision, how the decision was made. Just to have further understanding to that. And with neither of us being there, it worries me that it's not just about us as a planning commission, but also the public, that they won't be able to have that feedback or that discussion after their comments that I think that they deserve.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I mean, there are certainly meetings and agendas that would be easy to get through without the two of you. And I'm sure we could still, but
Right. And if,
I would value your input and I imagine the public would.
right. So, I mean, if there's other things that are on the agenda that the meeting can still be, the meeting can still be held. I'm just thinking that is the only thing. Yeah, okay. Because that was going to be my thing. I mean, the meeting can still be held if we're not here, but I think that piece of it and, yeah.
So you think we should push, reschedule it?
Without you two here, you guys will be here though, right?
Yeah.
And you, one or all of you, I don't know, have been involved in the.
Andrew's been involved.
So Andrea, if there were questions, you would,
We'll be
we'd
here
have to push them we'd have to push them to you if they're.
We also could have Grace sit in too. It's
I
up
know.
to you. I don't think it's a bad idea what you're saying. I
Yeah.
just,
Well, you guys have so much time spent on doing it, you should be here for it too.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
the
was all
only
your
thing,
input that created.
right.
How difficult
I
is
think
it to
that,
move it?
I think that what you're saying, Alan, is kind of a key that maybe we can follow up, even though we don't have a meeting between them, but to find out whether it's appropriate to have somebody else that was on the subcommittee be here to help answer questions, and they can do that. And if they feel that that's appropriate, then maybe we could continue to hold it. But I think that if it's not, then that's where I feel like it's not fair to.
So we could also just hold the public hearing without response at that time, but get all those comments in.
Yeah, I feel like this is my opinion. If you, as a member of the public that we serve, you make an effort to come to a meeting and
Yeah.
you stand up and speak in front of somebody, if the answer is readily available, which it wouldn't be if we weren't here, but I think if we were here most of the time, most of the answers should be available, or at least an explanation. They should be able to get that feedback at that time. That's just my opinion.
so if we, and I'm just talking out loud here. We could push it to the 28th. And get rid of the meeting on the 4th.
We have another item on the 4th or the 8th. It seems like it is.
Can we move that item to the 28th?
I'm gonna be out of town then too.
You're gonna be out of town now. Okay.
I'll be gone for a couple
That's
weeks.
okay. Because I won't be here on the 4th either.
I won't be here on the 4th.
Okay, so we may not have a quorum. We don't, I mean, we don't have a quorum for that meeting. Let me open this
I'll
up.
be
so
here
I-
on the fourth, but I mean, if two, yeah, I don't know who else isn't gonna be here the fourth.
I'm not.
And I won't be here.
Okay, so we do have a quorum
Oh.
on the eighth.
On the fourth,
We-
is it the fourth?
A couple weeks out,
What's our
things could
next-
change, right?
Wait,
I'm sorry, on the fourth, we have a planning the next scheduled planning commission meeting after June 21 or July 21 is 8/4.
Right.
Which we have one item that's supposed to be heard then. It appears we have a quorum.
Mhm.
The next one, at this point, we don't have any items for is 8/18.
Okay.
We were going to cancel that meeting because we didn't have any items, but obviously we can just hold the public hearing
Yeah,
for the zoning
Okay.
ordinance then.
that's fine.
So, and we have adequate time. Mailing.
Do you need a motion
Yeah.
for that or?
no, I mean, you could if you wanna just memorialize it so it's part of the record so that the public knows, cause it's my understanding the notice has already been published, for the July 21st meeting. The only obviously negative is that we have to republish the notice, but, you know, it is what it is, it's just money, so.
Well, it gives me a little bit more time to go through that beautiful document too.
Yeah, and it also has it
Phone book?
the documents, now my understanding is it's already been posted online,
Mhm.
so that gives people more time to
Time,
review it as
gives
well.
them more time too.
Yep.
So it would,
Yep.
the notice would need to be published by August 3rd. So you have a month.
I mean, whatever, you guys want to do that, I'm cool with that. If you don't, that's fine too. I mean, I don't, whatever you guys think. I think it's probably not a bad idea. I mean, we could limp along without Wendy and I and have Grace show up, but it's probably better to have. When yeah, I mean, as of now, I mean, this is a long way off, the 18th.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
And,
I think it makes sense, gives everyone more time.
yeah,
Really.
okay.
and
Will
I,
everyone, sorry, will everyone be at the meeting on the 15th?
As of right now, yes, but I mean,
Yeah.
my schedule just got blown up today, so.
well, this is my opinion. As, I think it's nice to have a week and a half then from our public hearing to the board's public hearing versus the same week.
Agreed.
Just because then it gives more time for the board members to really listen to the
Agreed.
public hearing that was here, kind of, mull over that feedback and kind of decide what's gonna happen then.
Mhm.
Especially if, when the planning commission makes its recommendation after the public hearing, if you do decide to make any changes.
Yep.
It gives more time because then it's actually in the packet, right?
Right.
Because if it's the same
Correct.
week, the packet will be amended on a
Yeah.
Tuesday if we're lucky, because that would be a late night on Monday.
Yep.
Tuesday, our board
Correct.
packet would be amended with any recommendation we make for a board meeting on a Wednesday. And again, I don't think that's fair to the public for them not to have time to look at the recommendation from the planning commission to really understand what we talk about, and where we come to. Whereas if we move it, like you said, to the August meeting, that gives a week and a half. So that gives staff, a couple of days to put that recommendation together and formalize it to put into the packet on Friday.
So I'll make a motion to move the PUD,
Yep, the zoning.
the zoning ordinance public hearing from July 21st to August 18th.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And then maybe in the mailer, we can say, in an effort to give the township residents more time to review, we've pushed the meeting.
So then the schedule will move from, we'll hold a public hearing on August 18th for the zoning ordinance amendments, then on August 27th. We'll introduce it to the board
Okay.
with the intent of adopting on 9/10 of 2025. One thing that we do want to know, which I don't anticipate that will fill a room. This room will be under construction on this meeting that we're moving this to, so the public hearing for this meeting will be held at the fire station across the street. So that's the only bummer here.
If that's the case, then we need to
We'll
publish
change the
it.
notice. Yep.
Right. Right. When does this start? Cause it's gonna be a couple of meetings. Is it the first of August?
So
meeting?
the
Make a mental note.
July 28th is when the construction in this room starts and it's done by Labor Day. So unfortunately, that
So
means
both of our
that,
August meetings will be there.
Okay.
Mental note.
yep,
It's good to.
we'll make sure when we send out the packet to put highlighted.
You
don't show up at the Wisner Center.
Cause then I thought it was the June meetings that were moved, cause she let us know in like the end of May.
It's the second one. So,
Make it very
No, but all.
publicly available on the township's website.
Yeah.
You know.
First one.
Yep.
Screw up.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
Oh, yeah.
That's our practice one. We only have one item on that agenda and it's an easy one.
All right. Does anybody have any other business?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Meeting adjourned.